Hello everyone, I am Dr. Prabha Agrawal, gynecologist and laparoscopic surgeon from Medicover Women and Child Hospitals, High Tech City, Hyderabad. We are here today to discuss about facts and myths related to the fibroids. Nowadays, newer and newer diseases are emerging which layman people don't have an idea about. They get confused about the treatment and management part and keep running from hospital to hospital. So I'll be discussing today what are the correct facts related to fibroids and what are the myths regarding its treatment and management. So as we all know, fibroids are smooth muscle tumor which arise from the wall of the uterus. Everybody has a risk of getting fibroid. Overall, a lifetime risk of getting a fibroid by age of 50 is 70 to 80%. Means and all the women have a risk of getting fibroids. But what are the majority of risk factors is when you get an early menarche, means you are having an early menses, or you get a late menopause in your life after 50-55 you are attaining menopause. If you are having late fertility, you are getting children late, you are getting married late, you are not breastfeeding the babies properly, and you are having lesser number of children. So what happens in these cases? In these cases there is a continuous unopposed rise in estrogen hormone. So the estrogen hormone causes the development of small tumors in the uterine wall which we known as fibroids. So how do we balance the hormones? There are two hormones in the body, estrogen and progesterone. So progesterone hormone has a good effect, beneficial effect on the uterine wall. So whenever you are having pregnancy, you don't have periods for 9 months, and when you are breastfeeding the baby at least a minimum of 6 months to 1 year, there will be no periods, and these hormones give a good relaxation effect on the uterus. So another important thing is the obesity. Nowadays more and more lifestyle diseases are coming which are related to our sedentary lifestyle, lack of exercise, alcohol abuse, smoking, and obesity. Obesity is a major risk factor for getting fibroids, wherein you gain a weight gain of 10 kg will increase your fibroid risk by 20%. One more very important factors in getting fibroid is endocrine disruptive chemicals, EDCs. What do you mean by EDCs? EDCs are basically chemicals which are released from the plastics and papers what we routinely use in our lifestyle, like the packing boxes and the foods and the preservative, wherein these endocrine disruptive chemicals will be released which cause our endocrine system, our hormonal system to go awry and cause diseases like fibroids and endometriosis. So we advise everybody to restrict the use of plastics in their food habits, restrict use of plastics as in their sanitary napkins and their daily usages. Coming back to the type of fibroids, there are basically 3 types of fibroids. The fibroids which grow outside the uterus, the fibroids which grow in the wall of uterus, and the fibroids which grow inside the uterus. And there is a size difference, there is a location difference in the fibroids, and all of the fibroids will not cause problem to you. Smaller fibroids are mostly asymptomatic, they won't be noticed also unless you get a routine ultrasound done. The larger fibroids, once they are outside the uterus, they may not be causing problems to you, but when a fibroid is inside the wall of the uterus or inside the cavity of the uterus, they will be causing some manifestations. So what are the clinical features of fibroids? How does the fibroids manifest? They may either cause heavy bleeding or bleeding in between the menstrual cycle, or some spotting issues will continue. You can have pain during menstrual cycle, you can have pain during intercourse, you can have urinary issues because of the pressure symptoms, you can have constipation, you can have bloating where you have a pressure sensation in your abdomen and abdominal swelling can be there. So these are the ways by which fibroids manifest. Now we'll come to the myths related to the fibroids. Myths means these are not the correct things. There is a lot of information available on Google and when you talk to your friends and their things, but everybody's bodies are different, so what happens to them doesn't strictly apply to our body. So first myth we will be discussing is that people think that fibroids are tumors, so they are cancer. A tumor doesn't mean that it is cancer. Tumor means a growth, wherein the growth can be cancer as well as non-cancer, but fibroids are very slow growing tumors and they are not cancers. the risk of your getting a cancer is very rare to negligible. So if you have fibroids, you should not be worried that you are having cancer. Second thing, people will feel that if I have fibroids, I will know. It's not like that. Sometimes the fibroids are asymptomatic. You won't know. Your fibroid will be slowly growing in the body unless you go for a routine health checkup or you go for a master health checkup. Till then you may not realize even that you have a fibroid. So it depends on the location of the fibroid. So all the fibroids might not be symptomatic. Sometimes they just grow silently in your body without causing any damage. Third thing, some people feel that it only affects the women in the reproductive age group. Reproductive age group means from 20 years to 40 years of age, but it is not like that. Even now in younger and younger generation we are seeing many fibroids, maybe because of the pollution, the endocrine disruptive chemicals and their bad lifestyle. But now fibroids are being seen in the younger age group also, and the fibroids will continue up to the age of 50 also, wherein after menopause they start shrinking because of the lack of hormones. Once you get fibroid, you need not get panic. It is not compulsory that fibroids needs to be removed in every lady. If you have fibroid, depending on your symptoms, whether you are really suffering with the fibroids or not, you need a pregnancy or not, or your fibroids really large or small, depending on that you consult a doctor and they will advise you whether you really need a treatment or not, or just a routine follow-up is good enough for you. Sometimes patients will ask that if I take medicines, will my fibroids disappear? No, it is not like that. There are medicines to help shrink the size of fibroid, wherein the size of the fibroid can be reduced, but long term, till you continue taking the medicine, the effect remains. Once you stop taking the medicine, the fibroid may regrow again. Second thing, medicines have their own side effects. Some medicines cannot be given for lifetime. There are side effects on the other body organs also. So medical management is a temporary management. It is not a permanent management wherein you can have the side effects of medicines as well. So what are the correct medicines for you and what medicine will suit for your size of fibroid, your doctor will discuss with you. Some people will ask, now I have attained menopause, my bleeding has stopped, will my fibroid disappear? Fibroids don't disappear, they just stop growing and sometimes they will shrink in the size. But once you attain menopause, definitely the fibroid will stop growing unless you are on hormone replacement therapy for any other problem, like you have some breast disorder or any ovarian cyst or anything for which your doctor has given you some hormones. But those hormones will cause your fibroid to regrow even in the postmenopausal age. If treatment is not done, if you don't go to doctor, you should not feel that my fibroid will keep on growing. So there is a way the fibroid behaves. They are very slow growing tumor. Sometimes they may not grow at all. They attain a size of 2 centimeter, they will stop growing. So it's not like that if you leave them untreated, your fibroid will keep on growing and attain a huge size. No, it's not like that. Sometimes fibroids don't grow at all. Just you need to be in a follow-up. So what are the management options related to fibroid? People think that once I have fibroid, hysterectomy means removal of uterus is my only option. No, it's not like that. Now recent advances, the science has made so many advances that we have a plethora of treatment available here, starting from medical management to less invasive to definitive treatment. Medical management, we have lot of tablets, contraceptive pills, intrauterine devices and injections available. Regarding tablets, there are tablets to control your heavy bleeding, there are tablets to control your pain during the cycle, there are medicines which will regulate your period, they will regulate your bleeding pattern, so that those contraceptive pills will give you extra benefit of contraception also. Then there will be medicines which will correct your anemia associated with the fibroids, your blood loss which has happened, they will correct. Some iron supplements you can use. Then we have GnRH injections also, wherein with the use of injections your fibroid size can shrink, so that if you need surgery also with a bigger fibroid, your size will shrink and you can do the surgery successfully. Or a very small fibroid can shrink also, but you cannot be giving injections for a long time. They have a strict 3 to 4 injections we can give. After that we need to stop those things. Some other medicines are also available, but they have side effects either on the liver or other things, so routinely we don't recommend unless depending on the patient thing. Regarding surgical part, we have surgery which we can do as a conservative surgery, where you need to preserve your uterus and your ovaries, because either you are planning for pregnancy or just you want to conserve your uterus. And another treatment is definitive treatment, wherein you remove the uterus. So definitive treatment we don't advise to anybody who has a smaller fibroids, single fibroids, less than 40 years of age, because once you remove the uterus, definitely there will be effect on your ovaries also, and unless recommended we don't go for hysterectomy. Other conservative management, wherein either you are planning for pregnancy, you need to save your uterus, we have other options available, like you can do ultrasound guided radio ablation, then MRI guided ablation of the small fibroids, wherein we can do. Then we have embolization procedures, wherein small PVC crystals they'll push in the blood vessel, wherein the blood supply to the fibroid will stop and it will stop growing. But all these procedures are for small fibroids and single fibroids. With a larger fibroids and multiple fibroids, surgery is always a better option, but wherein myomectomy you can do. Myomectomy means removal of the fibroids only. Myomectomy doesn't mean that we are spoiling your uterus, we only remove the fibroids. We do myomectomy by 2-3 ways. We do it either by laparotomy, means opening up your abdomen by a 6 to 7 centimeter of incision and removing the fibroids. Then second will be a laparoscopy, wherein you give a small incision, 10 millimeter of incision, and you remove the fibroids by a power morcellator. Then there will be a hysteroscopic myomectomy, wherein if the fibroid is only inside the uterus, you can remove it from the vagina also, and we have a robotic myomectomy also. So as such, myomectomy is now a safer procedure. You can conserve your uterus, and after 6 months you can plan for pregnancy also. After myomectomy we have hysterectomy, wherein once your age is completed, once you have your family is completed, your age limit has been more than 40 years, you don't need to conserve the uterus, it is studded with multiple fibroids and all sort of range of fibroids, hysterectomy can be an option. So many patients will think that once fibroid surgery is done, fibroids we have removed, the fibroids won't come back. No, it is not like that. When we do a myomectomy, we do a mapping scan, where we'll find out how many fibroids are there and where in the location. If we see 3 fibroids, we go and remove 3 fibroids. But many a times microscopic small seedling fibroids will be there, which we can't see with our naked eye, and they might grow 2 to 3 years, 5 years later. So whatever fibroids we see, we remove, but whatever fibroids we can't see, those microscopic seedlings can grow later. So the thing is, fibroids can come back again, but not the ones we have removed. Second, last one very important thing is, people feel that if I have fibroid, I will have infertility, I cannot become pregnant. So definitely fibroid causes infertility when they distort the uterine architecture, where they keep on pushing inside the uterine cavity, they occupy the space wherein sperm cannot meet the ovum properly, where your fallopian tubes become distorted, and where your endometrium lining is out of sync with other hormones. In those cases it can cause infertility, but once you remove the fibroids, your fertility comes back. So myomectomy is a very good option if you are planning for pregnancy. One very important thing is whether you will achieve a pregnancy or not, and second thing is whether that pregnancy will sustain or not. Even if you after myomectomy you become pregnant, that baby has to grow normally and you have to deliver at a safe time. So fibroids, when you leave fibroids untreated, you have fibroid in your uterus and you become pregnant, they may cause abortion. Early starting 3 months they may cause abortion, because a fibroid competes with the blood supply for the baby, and one of them may win and they may cause abortion, or just because there is not enough space available for the baby to grow, so fibroids may cause abortion. Then they may cause intrauterine growth retardation of the baby. Intrauterine growth retardation means there is not enough blood supply and nutrition going to the baby, so that the baby doesn't have the catch up growth what it should have, so the baby slowly becomes malnourished. And then they can cause preterm labor. Preterm labor means wherein before the baby is mature enough, you start getting pains, your fibroid may undergo degeneration where it becomes painful, and because of preterm labor you may end in preterm delivery and premature baby. Sometimes with fibroid we have placental issues also, wherein the baby is attached to the mother with a placenta and the blood supply to the baby is not good, or the placenta is at a wrong place. So all these things your obstetrician, your pregnancy expert should be taking care of. If you have a fibroid and you have a pregnancy, you should not be worried. It is considered as a high risk pregnancy, but still it can be managed smoothly and you will be able to deliver vaginally also, if your fibroid is not obstructing your vaginal canal. So these are the basic facts and myths related to fibroid.